It's one of the questions I get asked the most. How do I price my cakes? I'm going to talk about it in this video. Hi guys, it's Karolyn. I'm back with another video, and if this is your first time here, welcome to my channel. And if you want to see the different tips and tricks that I have and the ways that I bake and decorate cakes, then hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you can get notified whenever I release a new video. So like I said, I get asked all the time how I price my cakes, and pricing is, there's something on this, oh my god, there's a spider. All right, it's small enough and I'm going to try to ignore that and then I will get to it later. All right. Pricing is something that you have to play with it. It's something that you get better at over the years. I started making cakes back in 2002, and I actually took the Wilton courses on how to, the basic Wilton courses. I don't know if they offer them anymore, but it was at a local craft store, and I learned how to do the basics of cake. So back in the day when I first started making cakes, they were like between $2 and $4 a serving. Now that I look back at it, I was actually losing money on it, but anyway, I'm rambling. So a couple things, I keep looking at the spider. It better not come this way. If it comes this way, I'm stopping the video. Anyway, I started in 2002. Like I said, my cakes I started off, they were about $2 to $4 a serving. I actually found this the other day as I was going through my folders. And this is a brochure from when I first started making cakes. Karolyns Cakes and Cookies. Okay, how adorable is this? So it was my sheet cake phase. I don't even make cookies anymore. Cookies they're just not my thing. I mean, I'll make chocolate chip, but that's about it. But it has in here, I don't know if you could see, or maybe I'll put in pictures. I had a sheet cake phase, and these are a bunch of the cakes that I made. And I look at the back of the pricing. Sheet cakes, a quarter sheet, $25. A half sheet started at $40. I have in here 12-inch cake feeds up to 25. A 12-inch round cake feeds like, why am I screaming? I'm so mad at myself. I go by the Wilton serving chart, and a 12-inch cake feeds like 40 plus people. But anyway, I was only charging $45 for that. So I'm rambling on about this, but this just goes to show you that we all start somewhere. You gotta crawl before you walk. Anyone watch Friday? Smokey? No? All right, anyway. You gotta crawl before you walk. It's like a whole learning process. So when I first started making cakes, I called around to local bakeries because I had no idea what anyone was charging. So I asked for the same type of cake. It was probably like a 2-tier princess theme with a tiara on top or something like that to feed 25 people. And I just called a few different bakeries to see what they would charge. And then I charged accordingly, according to my skill level, according to the fact that I didn't have any overhead, I didn't have to pay any employees. So when I found out what those bakeries were charging, I would compare my skill level to theirs and charge less or more, or whatever it would be, depending on where I felt my skill level was at the time. Something about pricing is that you can't charge the same price everywhere. I have people asking me, they send me pictures of cakes and ask how much I would charge for it. But I'm just outside of Philly, so I may be able to get more money for a cake than someone who is in a rural area. I hate saying rural. Rural is such an annoying word. Rural. In a rural area, all right, I'm going off on a tangent. I may be able to charge more than someone in an area like that because the prices are higher here. Now, I can't charge as much as someone in, say, New York City or San Francisco, where the prices of everything is higher in those cities. So you have to take into account location. That's going to play a big part in how you price your cakes. So whenever someone orders a cake, I always tell them, they ask, how much is a cake? I get these basic questions like, how much is a 2-tier cake? Well, a 2-tier cake can feed 20 people or it can feed 40 people. It depends. So I always tell people that the price of the cake is determined by the theme or design, the number of servings, and how much detail you want. So there's a lot of different factors that go into pricing a cake. Right now, for me, generally, my cakes are between $5 and $15 per serving. I have a minimum order of $100. My minimum used to be $200, but now I brought it down because I can make really simple cakes for less money. Yeah, I don't know what else I want to say about that. If I have a 2-tier cake to feed 25 people, it can be anywhere from 150 to 300 plus, depending on the design and the detail. So that would make it between $6, I'm counting on my fingers, I'm 43. So that would make it between $6 and $13 a serving. I get people who want a cake to feed, 2-tier cake to feed 30 people. Some detail on it and it'll cost $300. When they find out the price, they say, you know what, I only needed to feed 20. Now, the problem with cutting your price down a lot just to feed less is that you still have to make the same decorations. You know, you're spending the same time. I think the problem with that is just because the size of the cake tiers are smaller doesn't mean that the cost of the cake is going to dramatically go down. Because think about it, if you're making a cake that feeds 20, 2 tiers to feed 20, or 2 tiers to feed 30, you still have to put the same decorations on there. They're just going to be a tiny bit smaller. You're still baking, filling, icing the cakes, although it's a little less batter, a little less ingredients. So the difference in the cost of ingredients and time to make a cake that's slightly smaller isn't much. So I try to explain that to people when they want to drastically reduce the number of servings to try to get the price down. What I will do in that instance, and most of the times what I do, is give people 2 or 3 different options for their cakes. So say somebody is looking for a cake to feed 2 tiers to feed 25 people. I can give them a low budget, a medium budget, and a high budget option. So a low budget meaning here's a simple design with the name and the age and a couple different edible image decorations, and it will be, you know, I'm just giving numbers out there, $150. Or if you want, I can make some of the decorations out of fondant and it'll be $200. Or if you want me to go up crazy and put a ton of detail in it, it will be $260. So this way it gives people 3 different options, 2 or 3 different options to choose from. And I feel like people are more likely to order from you when they have more options. You have to realize that sometimes you're going to be too expensive for people, and that's okay. What you don't want to do is reduce your price just to get the order, because then you'll be known as the lady that, or the guy that reduces their price when you try to haggle with them. I think that every occasion doesn't warrant having a big, beautiful, detailed cake. Sometimes people are just having a small get-together, and it might be better if they go to Sam's Club or just get a small sheet cake at the grocery store or something like that. But I really recommend not discounting your price, although I know you may want this sale. It will bode better. Is bode the right word? It will work out better in the long run if you stick to your guns and charge what you're going to charge, give them the different options. And if they don't want to go with you, that's okay. Somebody else will. Now, trying to think of how to explain this again. The bigger my cakes get, the less price they are per serving. So if someone's getting a 4-tier cake to feed $100, 4-tiered cake to feed 100 people, if someone's getting a 4-tier cake to feed 100 people, usually, unless it's crazy detailed, I'm not going to charge $15 a serving. Oh, I don't even know how I want to say this. This is what I want to say. Your time is worth money, okay? So making a small cake can still take hours. And making a large cake, sometimes the large cake is a simpler design and it doesn't take as long as the small cakes. So that's where the whole pricing thing can get a little tricky, because I've made 4-tier cake to feed 100 people that took less time than a 2-tier cake to feed 30 people. So that's something that I've learned over time to, you have to be able to figure out, okay, I'm just doing, using an impression mat and doing some, you know, like a polka dot pattern and something simple, but it's going to be a big cake. You price that accordingly. And I really can't find the words, and I wish I knew what I wanted to say. But sometimes just because a cake is going to be 4 tiers, it doesn't mean that it has to be $1,000. Okay. If someone has a better way of explaining that or can help me with my words, you can leave that below. I welcome any comments, but this is the way I price my cakes. So smaller cakes usually are a higher cost per serving, while larger cakes are a lower cost per serving, and it kind of equals out in the time. But I still take into account the detail and, you know, the decorations that I have to make and all of that, okay? I really hope that came across the right way. Another thing, sometimes people try to make you feel bad for charging what you charge. They kind of expect you to reduce your price. And the only metaphor or thing that I can think of is you don't walk into a Coach store and say, I saw a handbag at Target for $15.99. I want this handbag for $15.99, right? Like, Coach sells, their bags are a couple $100s, right? And you go to that store knowing that you're going to invest the money and have better quality and a bag that could probably last longer than a $15 Target bag. Although I do love Target bags, so no shame there. But that, you know, just relating that to cakes, sometimes people want to invest the money in a cake that they know is going to be delicious and it's going to look good. And sometimes you just want an ice cream cake from Carvel. But don't let people talk you into charging Carvel prices for your big, beautiful, detailed cake. I hope that makes sense. One more thing. Pricing is trial and error, and I believe I said that before. I remember in the beginning, I would charge $40, $60 for a sheet cake, and then afterwards do the calculations like, man, that took me 3 hours to do, the ingredients cost this, and I just broke even. You know, so you have to figure out as you're working how long, I basically know how many hours I'm gonna have to spend decorating a cake, so I know how much to charge. But in the beginning, I remember, Minecraft, and Minecraft is coming back, and Minecraft was my cake nightmare years ago when it first came out. Someone sent me a picture of the Minecraft with all the little squares on it. I was like, oh yeah, I could do that. It'll be pretty easy. I did not charge enough. It took probably twice as long as I thought, and I was in tears, and I was so frustrated. And that is one of those lessons learned the hard way. Just sometimes you undercharge and it gets really frustrating, but it's a lesson learned the hard way and you just know for next time. But overall, I just wanted to say that pricing is trial and error, and you won't always get it perfect, but you're going to learn as you go along. So I really can't think of anything else to say on this topic. I'm sorry that this video was kind of all over the place. I should have made a list and just counted through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe it would be easier for you to understand. But I hope some of these tips help you better price your cakes and make sure when you make a Minecraft cake that you take into account those frickin' little squares. So anyway, I can't think of anything else to say about this. If you have any questions, please leave them below. If you have comments on pricing issues that you've had, leave them below, and we can all comment and you know, give advice and help each other through these little issues that we may have. I usually check my YouTube messages and comments once a day in the morning before I start working. So if you do comment, I will get back to you as soon as I check my messages. And please like this video if you liked it. It really helps out my channel. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already and you want to see more videos like this. And you can follow me on social media. I am on Facebook and Instagram, and I have my website. I will link all of that below. Thank you so much for watching the video. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.